would do if you are a performance artist and you've got a couple of gigs to go to and you got to pack everything in one place. Every time that you have a gig, are you ready to go? If a call comes in and you've got less than 30 minutes to prepare, will you be frantic having to pull everything together? Well, I was inspired by a couple of different friends. One is Rebecca, who is a fantastic belly dancer in the Seattle area. Another one is my tech friend, Chris Perillo, who has a gig bag to die for whenever he has to go somewhere where he needs to live stream. He has all his cables ready. He has additional plugs and an extra, outlet and microphones, different cameras, everything to cover every contingency. Do you have that as a performance artist? Well, as a dancer, sometimes I have gigs where I have to have more than one costume. And so I decided to invest in just a standard bag. This ended up costing around $79. Get a slightly nicer bag with lots of pockets. Inside, I've got 2 pockets for different kinds of shoes. Here I have always stored a pair of flat shoes. And then I have one open spot where I can put underneath it a pair of heel dance shoes if I like. Nice big pocket here. Here I have a spare ponytail, so if I want to clip that onto the back of my head and have a long fall, I definitely can. I have a box that contains a couple of different pairs of earrings as well as extra safety pins. And I always put a spare pair of zills so that even if the pair that I select for a piece of music for some reason fails me, I have another spare pair. Inside this bag, I'll usually put my costumes in 2 different ways. One, if it's a Bella costume, Bella's costumes always come with a bag. And I'll separate the pieces after they've come out of my closet into a plastic bag. The bra and all the little accoutrements go in one bag. Then the skirt will be tucked underneath a veil in a plastic bag. And any other pieces may go below. I'll make certain that these are hanging during the week, but right before the gig, they're all ready to go, just to throw into a bag so I don't have to think too hard. There's no missing parts, all in one bag. Underneath that, I'll have a couple of spare veils. So I'll usually keep one veil or 2 that are wings that I've made out of a veil, and then I made a little neck piece out of 2 pieces, so I have a pair of wings, and then just a plain, very, very light silk veil. That one I can steam very, very quickly, and then it's ready to go. And I'll put that inside of another little bag. If I need an additional skirt, I'll have an additional skirt, and that can either go in the bag or just outside of it. During the week, I put all my bras and belts after they have been danced in, sweated in. I let them breathe for a while, and then I put them inside of a plastic container. So these I just bought from Target. It typically fits a bra and a belt very comfortably, even if you pad them crazily. And that fits right inside of my bag. So there's 2 costumes right there. What about larger props? Well, I had a friend who commissioned her to use some very stiff and padded material here. Then I took a couple of little tassels that came off of a Turkish horse saddle, and I had them tied in to have a little cinch. Here I can slip in my Spanish fan, my cane, and my sword. Not that the sword is sharp, but if you're traveling somewhere, it's nice to put it into some kind of little outer sheath so people know that it's not an item that's a weapon, that it can't harm them. Then I can close this. There's a zipper pocket on the outside, and I can actually slide this in and let it stay on the outside. And that way, when I'm just wheeling it around, then it's sticking on the outside. People can see it. I'm not trying to hide anything, but at least they know it's there, and I know it's there. top of this, I'll put, you know, a bag that you can stick your excess cosmetics, eyelashes, things like that. But basically just a simple bag, but having it ready to go is the key, so that when you get that call for a gig, you already have your costumes ready. One other little tip that I received from another dancer is to keep track of where you're dancing and what costumes you wore, so that if you get called back very quickly, say to substitute for another dancer or another musician or whatever it is that you do, that you're not wearing the same outfit, you're not doing the same things. Additionally, you can keep all your CDs of sets of music together in a CD holder, and I like to use the ones that have 4 up on a page and that they have a 3-hole punch, so it's in a kind of binder. That way, as I use sets and I do label them for which date I used them, I can rotate them through and reuse them again. There are some restaurants that just don't have, they're set up for using an MP3 player, an iPod. Those are usually some restaurants that use satellite for their, you know, entertainment or their usual music broadcasting. And so bringing in live entertainment where we use CD players, you might want to consider that you'll have to burn your own CDs and then keep track of where you're dancing with them and what sets and what dates you use them. I keep track of all of that on my computer, and that way I'm never dancing the exact same set 2 times in a row at the same place. If you're dancing an awful lot, it can get a little bit frustrating if you didn't remember or you didn't write that down. And then what I do is I make certain I know what costume I was wearing that night as well, so that if I get called back quickly, I'm not wearing the same costumes, colors, and that way it's a little more excitement. And just in case there are some return clients who happen to come back on the same night that you were rehired for a place. So those are my tips to being ready for any gig, anything. Do you have a great suggestion on what you put in your gig bag or how you stay organized? Please send them in a video response or in a comment to me here. I'm Ime. You're watching Your Little China Girl. Thanks so much for watching.